Good afternoon, my dear students. Myself, Sandhya Pandey. Today we will start our new chapter, our new poem. It is The Way Through the Woods, written by Rudyard Kipling. Students, if we will talk about our author, our poet, Rudyard Kipling's career began to develop when he worked in India for Anglo-Indian newspapers. He was a talented reporter, reviewer, essayist, and short story writer. But his first major success came with poetry after his return to England. The publication of Barrack Rome Ballads in 1992, which captured the experiences of soldiers across the British Empire, brought him considerable fame. So, students, Kipling suffered devastating personal bereavements. Okay, and with the loss of one of his daughters when she was 6 years old, and the death of her son, who was killed in action at the start of his First World War. Sorry. He was often seen as a poet of empire with conservative views, and his reputation suffered after the First World War. And with the advent of modernism, in spite of impressiveness range of his work and his skillful craftsmanship. Student, if we'll see the poem, The Way Through the Woods, the poem is here. The poem is, they shut the road through the woods 70 years ago. Weather and rain have undone it again. Now you would never know there was once a road through the woods. Before they planted the trees, it is underneath the coppice and heath, and the anemones only the keeper sees, that where the ring-tuft broods and the badgers roll at ease, there was once a road through the woods. Yet, if you enter the woods of a summer evening late, when the night anger cools on the trout-ringed pools, where the otter whistles his mate, they fear not men in the woods, because they see so few. You will hear the beat of a horse feet, and the swish of a skirt in the dew, steadily cantering through the misty solitudes, as though they perfectly knew the old lost road through the woods, but there is no road through the woods. The beautiful poem, students, the beautiful poem written by Rudyard Kipling. So, students, if we will see the background of the poem, in the first 12 lines, Kipling simply and delicately describes the abandoned road in the woods. Okay. And what details does he present in order to help us picture the scene? So, what do you notice about the rhythm and the elaborate rhyme scheme? And the way these features support the meaning of the poem. Look at the internal rhyme used in the third and seventh line in each stanza, students. In the second stanza, how does Kipling introduce an element of mystery and intrigue while still employing carefully observed descriptive detail? Note how, yet at the start of the second stanza, signals the introduction of new observation and information, while the use of 13th line creates a hauntism conclusion to the poem, and the drama and the tension in the poem are heightened by the sudden auditory and visual impact of the beat of horse feet and the swish of a skirt. So, student, in some lines, we have observed that in some lines, author wants to give some supernatural actions, some supernatural things. He wants to put some supernatural action in this poem. So, roads and woods can be powerful metaphors in poetry and song. So, do you think, students, there is a metaphorical element in the poem? Or should we simply enjoy the carefully constructed mysterious tale of an old lost road? If we'll see, students, first stanza, that is, they shut the road through the woods, 70 years ago, and weather and rain have undone it again. So the poem begins with the speaker stating that, students, that one particular road was shut 70 years ago, and the first line is spoken as if the reader already has prior knowledge of the road. Actually, student, all those 70 years have passed. Since anyone was able to traverse the path, the speaker remembers it well. And since the time the road was chased, since the time the road was chased, students. So, students, since the time was since the time the road was closed, okay, the weather and the rain have undone it due to the fact that it was not maintained and the elements have almost erased it entirely. If one was to come upon this place now unaware of the history, they would not know that there was once a road through the woods. Because, students, because yes, nature has taken back the area that humans had claimed, and trees have been planted and grown up around the path, है ना? Okay, so helping to obscure what was left of the path. Now if one was searching for it, they would have to go underneath the coppice and heath, means the bushes. Okay, and here the speaker, students, is referencing a wooded area that is annually cut back to stimulate growth and heath, or opposite. This is an area of uncultivated land. It can also refer to a type of a common shrub that grows wild. One would also be forced to go around the anemones, thick big plant that are anemones. And this word is wide ranging and refers to an expensive chains of flowers. So, students, here we can say that there is a contrast here between the way that humans have worked the land, abandoned it, and then worked it again, okay, and the way nature is trying to take it back. In the next lines, the speaker refers to the keeper who maintained the forest, है ना? Okay, the person is likely the one in charge of monitoring the area. The speaker refers to the keeper vaguely. There is no real actual definition to what their job is, but one can assume they have access to all the wildlife that has since come back to the area. Actually, student, the keeper is not now the only one who is able to see beyond the surface level of the woods. है ना? Okay, the person sees the ring dove brooding or preparing to sit and incubate eggs. Their position allows them to see the badgers rolling at ease. The animals are comfortable with this person, the keeper. The animals, badgers, and ringed off, they are very much comfortable with that person because they know the person, because the keeper is not the stranger to them. They feel as if they are able to continue on with their lives. There is an element of jealousy between the speaker and the keeper because the keeper has access to a now secret world no one else can see. So, students, if we will see the stanza second, in the next stanza means yet if you enter the woods of a summer evening late, when the night air cools on the trout-ringed pools, where the otter whistles his mate. Now, in the second stanza, students, if we can see, the next stanza, the speaker discusses what happens, okay, if one enters the woods on a summer evening late, one could slip into the area that is seemingly off limits while no one is watching. The air would be cooling off for the day and the animals would be as relaxed as possible. One might even able to hear the otter whistle to his mate. The animals have no reason to fear. The animals have students have no reason to fear because man, as there are so few passing through the area now. If the road still existed, this would not be the ease. If one entered into the woods, if one entered into the woods at this time, there might even be a detectable sound of a horse feet beating on the ground. And they move without hesitation and without need for a path. So, students, in the final lines, the speaker increases the mystical and mysterious element of this piece by describing how the horses seem to know perfectly the old lost road through the woods. He concludes with the line. Student, the old lost road through the woods, but there is no road through the woods. Means The old lost road through the woods. He concludes with the line, but there is no road through the woods. It has vanished so completely. He could not prove to another it ever existed. Means the poet is saying, Rudyard Kipling is saying that the road that was before 70 years ago, that was before 70, it has been vanished by the human actions. So, students, if we want to see the summary, if the whole conclusion of the poem and the whole summary of the poem, the summary is that the poem begins with the mention of a road through the woods, which was closed 70 years ago. The road was left undisturbed. For so many years, the weather and the rain have undone this road. The place was looking as it was before formulation of that road. But now no one could tell if there was even a road through the woods. It is because the roads had disappeared beneath the bushes and shrub of different kinds of plants. It is hidden from the human eyes. After the road was closed, trees were planted. So those trees have grown up now, and the road has become the part of the wood itself. But now, students, the road, which is not seen and which is not a part of wood itself, is full of activity and life. It is occupied by the ring dove that broods there and the burrowing buzzard which rolls in it playfully. Now the creatures, they have occupied the road which was built 70 years ago. Now, if anyone goes and visits the wood in the late summer evening, he or she will come to know that there is more to the road. The night air cools above the pools that are full of trout fish, and the otter calls out to its mate. These creatures do not fear human presence because very few people enter the woods, because it was full of woods, so very few people enter the woods except the keepers, and the keepers were not strangers to them. Keeper was a known person to otter, ring-dove birds, and all the creatures who were living there. So one could hear the trampling of a horse hoof when the horse is not physically present. Perhaps it is a ghost from the past when the road was used by man on a horseback. So, students, we can see that the poet has somehow managed to tell that some supernatural powers exist, and one could hear the swish of skirts moving among dew-covered grass. From these sounds, one could tell the difference that these people move in easy walk, as if they perfectly knew where the road lay, even when a living person would not be able to distinguish it because it is no longer the road that was there 70 years back. The poet still feels that there is surely no road through the woods. Students, poet has very beautifully, Rudyard Kipling has very beautifully explained the poem, The Way Through the Woods. Okay, so here are some questions and answers are both I have given. So if we'll discuss the question answer, students, who can see where the old road run? Yes, you can. There the keeper and the ghost know where the old road run. And why is the otter not afraid of man? Because they hardly see any. Yes, I have told you in my summary also that the otter are not afraid of men because they hardly see any. Which lines tell you that the woods are full of life? Wherein the ring dove broods and badgers roll at ease, trout ringed pools where the otter whistles. All this are telling about that how the creatures are living their life. The various now, which words? What are the various creatures that can be seen and heard in these woods? Which words tell you? Now the road through the woods was shut down. It exists. Sorry. The various creature students that can be seen in the woods are dove, badgers, otters, and trout in the pools. That is misty solitudes, swish of a skirt, and trout ringed pools. If students, we can see the I have given reference to context also. You have to do it in your notebook. Just do it in your notebook. And if you are having any doubt regarding chapter, you can just ask me during your online classes. Okay, so students, stay at home, stay safe, and have a nice day. Thank you so much, students.